Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are, your geographical location. Welcome back to Rise Again 44 with Norma. Today, I would like to discuss a very sensitive topic, sensitive to many, but very sensitive to me. I think the beginning of this year has shed a light on this. Hence, I would like to discuss it today. And based on my knowledge and my experiences, I feel and believe that a lot of us, especially African children, African families, at one point in our lives or one way or another, we've gone through it or we are going through it. You know, it's so sad when, as African children, we are raised by our families, either both parents or single parents, but we are raised to love each other, to take care of each other, to trust each other. But our parents don't have control over how we actually behave towards each other, especially as we grow, as we become adults, and we all take different routes in our lives, career wise, family wise, any other way, because as even if we grow from one home under one um, roof, but we all come out differently. Some of us, based on our circumstances, some believe that they should be victims, some believe that they should blame their parents for this and that, others blame even their siblings. So it's just a very broad and deep and sensitive topic that I would like to cover today. Um, Basically, I've recently experienced a very, very shocking, what would I say, confession. This is deep for me and it's not easy, and I don't know if I've healed or if I've processed it enough to talk about it, but here I am. Maybe this is part of my healing journey. In short, I was raised by a single parent, a single mother, with four other siblings. So I'm the last born. And the sibling, basically number three, four, and me, number five, this is this story that I'm going to relate is mainly about us. We are three sisters because we have our eldest brother and then my late sister, who was number two, and then there's then my two elder sisters and me. Um, for me not to make this audio too long, I will just try and minimize and just give the relevant information. But basically, jealousy and not getting along as siblings is very it's a very difficult thing in African households. And we should learn as parents now as we grow to try and teach our children, how to love each other unconditionally, how to have each other's back, and also for them to accept that they can never be the same, they can't be gifted the same, and their lives cannot turn out the same. And also that competition is there, competition is part of life, but it should also be healthy, especially when it comes to siblings. But anyway, it's so sad when you find out that the same people that you grew up with, that you trusted, that you were raised to take care of each other, are the same people that backstab you, that are always chasing your life, and it's so sad because all my life, like I said, I'm the last one. I've always known somehow that my sisters don't have the best interest at heart for me, and sadly, well, maybe not sadly, that's just you can't change who you are. Said For me, I've always looked up to them. I've always wanted what's best for all of us. I'm the type of a person who I feel like when I'm happy, everybody else must be happy. When I know of something that can change somebody's life or change my life, I always want to share it with people, especially the people that I'm close to. But unfortunately, other people see that as a weakness, and other people use it against you. So I've found myself in that situation where um my siblings, specifically my two sisters, have issues with me. So, in short, the eldest one, whom is 10 years older than me, ever since I think for as long as I can remember, she always had issues with me. She we were never close, and I always assumed that maybe because of the age gap, but it was strange because my oldest one, who was 14 years older than me, the late one, we were always very close. She was my rock. But this one, the one who's 10 years older than me, we always had um, like that distance, that yes, she's my sister, but why don't you like me? I used to even ask my mom, like, Ma, but why I'll call her K. Why does K not like me? What have I done to her? I always felt like she never liked me. She was closer to my immediate sibling, the one who's 4 years older than me. I'll call that one C. So her and K and C were always closer. So I ended up accepting that maybe it's because of the age gap or whatnot. And I just was always, though, still loving them, still wanting to have a good relationship with them. And as we grew and we all got married, had our own houses and children and everything, we still were not close. With years would go by without me and Kay seeing each other, but me and C we were very very close, like very close. So basically, C was close to Kay, and she was also close to me. And as we grew, it would always puzzle me. Like I would ask myself, how does she manage to be the in between me and Kay and not fix things between us, because there was always that tension, even though we never really fought, but there was always that tension. And like I said, I used to ask my mom, and my mom once said to me, what, my child, stop worrying about this. It's not you, stop. If somebody has they feel some sort of way about you and they don't tell you, then don't worry about it. It's not your business. So since my mom said that, I accepted it. But when there would be family functions, we'd be civil to each other. It would be nice for those few hours that we are together, and then we go our separate ways. So now let me come to my relationship now with C, the one who's 4 years older than me. Like I said, we're very, very close. I took her as my best friend. Me and her were just very close to an extent that she also, when when we first bought a house, my husband and I, we bought a house in the East Rand somewhere, because I'm from Soweto. We bought a house in the Far East, and when C came to visit to see the house with her husband, they immediately said they want to come and buy a house where we live, like as soon as they came. They were like there for an hour, and they're like, no, 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 let's drive around. We also want to come see houses and whatnot. And I never saw that as anything bad. I was actually happy. I was like, okay, cool. We drove around. We went to look for houses, and asked around, phoned a. So her and her husband looking for a house as soon as they came to view our house, to visit for the first time. I didn't see it as a bad thing, and I just assumed that, you know what, she also wants what's good for her. So basically, they looked for a house, they moved to our side, and yeah, we went through a lot, together as neighbors and sisters. Our relationship became even closer because we would help each other, and she had a lot of marital issues. Um, Abuse. She experienced physical, emotional abuse, and I was always there because we lived 2 streets away. And for most of you who know, last bonds, we become somehow the bigger siblings, because I don't know why. Maybe because we grew up and see our siblings grow, and we experience how they go through life, and we learn from that. So I think we mature faster. So I was just always like the bigger sister when it came between me and her. So I was always there protecting her, and she also developed a illness, I would say, where she used to faint, and she never grew up with that. And my mom used to believe that it's because of the emotional abuse and the physical abuse in her marriage. So a lot of things happened between me and her. A lot of things happened between me and her. But for me, on my side, I was always there. I just felt like I just need to be there for my sister. I just need to be there for my sister. And there was a time where one day I'll tell the story about that, but today it's not the day, because I'm covering a different topic. But when I was 31 years old, I lost my husband. So my sister, being my neighbor, being there, she was there, she was supportive. And but a week, 2 weeks after, while I was still grieving, because I was going through therapy, I was going to a psychologist, and every time I went, because I used to go there 3 times a week, a day wouldn't pass, a session wouldn't finish without me talking about my sister, being worried about her marriage, the abuse, and her not being able to go to work because now she was even not going to work for weeks on end, and she would just refuse. She was going through the most. And at the same time, I was going through the most. I was 31, widowed with two young children under the age of 9. So my psychologist noticed that, what, something is not right. How come you're going through so much and you are so young, but every session you are always worried about your sister? And she said to me, what, on Saturday when you come through, please come with your sister. But she didn't tell me why. So I invited my sister, and as soon as we arrived, the therapist said to me, "No, just sit at reception a little bit. I just want to speak to your sister." I promise you, it didn't even take 10 minutes. And they called me in, and the therapist said to me, "You know what? Need a favor, go back home, go to your sister's house, get some clothes for her, and I'm admitting her for 20 days, 21 days into a psychiatric hospital because she's going through the most." So I'm just relating this to show you how much of the weight I carried because of the relationship I had with her. Even though I was going through my the darkest time of my life, I still worried about her. And that's when my therapist said, "You know what? For you to start healing, I need to remove your sister from you, and I need her to get help so that you can also get help." So yeah, she was admitted, and still I was there. The husband was not there. The husband didn't even bother for the whole 21 days to go and see her. I was the who would go. I would be the one to go fetch her kids, um, take them to her every weekend to go see her and spend time with her, and then go drop them off. So it was just a very up and down relationship. But on my side, I was just always there. I was just always there. And my mom and my sister, they used to clash a lot, because my mom used to say to her, she needs to grow up. She needs to realize that she can't depend on me fully like that. And also, my mom felt like she was taking advantage. And most of the time, I would be caught in the middle. I love my mom, I love my sister, and both of them are my best friends. And when they used to fight, it would get to me. I remember there was a time where I called both of them for a meeting, and I sat them down, and I said to them, "You know what, guys, please don't make me choose. I don't want to choose. I cannot choose between the two of you, so please try and get along for my sake." That's how deeply I loved both of them. Yes, my mom was my best friend, my bestest best friend, but I was also very fond of my sister. And I just believe I'm a lover of life, and I always want people to be happy. So I always wanted that close family bond, that unit. So, not to drag this thing long, I'm just making it like a lot, trying to explain, or for you guys to visualize the type of relationship that I had with C. And then my mom got sick. I lived with my mom. Years later, I asked my mom to move in with me because she lived alone and she was getting old. So I had a cottage. Then she moved in with me. And my sister would visit often. She would visit often. Kay was nowhere to be found because, like I said, me and her were just not so close. So C was just always there. And I remember when the husband divorced her, I was away for work. I was in India for work, and my mom phoned me and said, "You need to help us. Your sister, the husband didn't tell her that he sold the house." And what he did, it was a Saturday when my mom phoned me. So the Friday, my sister came back from work and found the husband packing with clothes and had a truck, and he moved everything and just said to her, "Tomorrow the new people are moving in, so you need to find a way out." That's just how they told her. So she phoned panicking and phoned my mom. So on Saturday, my mom phoned me. It's like, you know what? You need to make a plan, Norma. I know you're traveling, you are far, but you're the one who knows how to make things happen. So that's just another way, And luckily, my late sister had left a house, so my mom had left that house to my mom. So my mom said to see that, you know what, you can live there. Since you're an adult, it wouldn't be good for you to come and live back at home with your children. So here's a space. So that was sorted out. But then my mom fell sick, and my mom falling sick, it was another up and down, up and down. And I felt like I needed to take care of her. So I resigned from work because she needed almost like full-time attention. So I resigned from work to look after my mom. I think she started her illness became serious or severe around March, and I resigned the 31st of March with immediate effect because I had a lot of leave. But anyway, so I started taking her up and down doctors and what and what. And there was a day where my sister came. It was a Friday, and she said, "Okay, you know what? Let me come and help you to take care of Umama." And by then I was married with my second husband. So she said, "Let me come and help you to take care of Umama and give you a break." So she came to spend the Friday. She was actually going to spend the weekend. So Friday night, she said, "No, don't wake up. I'll be the one to wake up to help her and whatnot." Huh. We slept. And but because I'm so used to waking up, I would wake up to go and check and assist and whatnot. The next day, my sister in the morning, she imagine in front of my husband, she says to me, "Oh my gosh, you have a heart. You have a heart. I cannot do this every day. I just can't. How do you wake up?" She just calls. She's talking about our mom. She just calls your name and she expects you to come and running and go help her, help her to tend, take her to the bathroom, this water, medication, this and that. She was going on and complaining. I remember the look on my husband's face like, is this for real? Is this your sister? Are you sure? Is this your mother's daughter? Are you sure? How can she speak like that about her own mom? But there was one of the things that I would actually never forget. And I remember there was a time because my sister really believed in her mother-in-law. They were very close with her mother-in-law. She loved her mother-in-law. She would buy literally everything for her mother-in-law. Remember I mentioned that we lived 2 streets away? She my mom would come and visit before my mom moved in with me. She would come maybe to visit me for a week or 2 weeks. My mom would come. My sister would drive past our house because to go to the shop she would have to pass by my house. She would see us outside she would be driving with her mother-in-law. She would never even stop. She'd just hoot and go. Not even come and greet her mom or anything like that. That's how close she was to her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law was her life. But anyway, so my mom fell sick and eventually she passed away in June. So after the funeral, things started getting shakier, very much so, amongst us as siblings. And now they showed me who they really are. And I remember they called a family meeting, and that was hectic. That was hectic because Kay at that meeting, she was very angry at me. They actually planned. They planned, and luckily my nephew told me that, you know what, Mamngani, these people have a plan for you on Saturday, because they were planning to split my mother's furniture. Even though my mom lived with me, her furniture was still at her house at home where we grew up. So, and most of that furniture um was bought by me because I renovated, I wanted her to have a comfortable home. So now apparently now after she passed away, they had a plan. They already decided that who's gonna take couches, who's gonna take appliances, who's gonna take a bedroom suite, dining room, all that. They had already planned. So I just kept quiet. So by the time I went for that meeting, I knew that they had a plan. So I counter planned. So as they were talking, obviously they were against me because at this point the relationship was strained between me and K and C, including my brother. They had my brother on their side anyway. So at this meeting, then they were talking that, yeah, how we're gonna split things, this, that, and the other. So I said to them, you know what? I hear you guys. You are planning about splitting things. Who's taking what? Who's taking what? This thing is very easy. Let's make this thing very, very easy. Seeing that I bought all the things, all the furniture in this house. No one is taking furniture. I'm going to give this furniture to my mother's grandchildren, and my mother's grandchildren being their children, because most of them have adult children. So I said, my mom had grandchildren and adult grandchildren. So these furniture, these things that you guys are discussing, I bought them with my money. And I'm going now to say they're going to my nephews and nieces. They got so angry. And guess what? I never took anything for any of my kids. I said it's for my nephews and nieces. They got so angry to an extent that Kay, in front of everybody, said to me, to my face, I hate you. I hate you. And I looked at her and I said, it's nothing new. I've always known. It's just that today the difference is you finally told me. And she got so angry. She hit the table and she stood up and she left. And I just took my kids and I left. That's how strained the relationship was. But anyway, a lot happened. And my sister C was dating a guy. This guy was a very matured guy, very nice guy. I'll call him Colin. His name was actually Colin, but anyway, so this guy one day came to our house. Um, he tried his best. He actually said, "You know what? I tried my best to find a way to come here," because he came with my sister, even though the relationship was strained already. He came with C, who was his girlfriend, and while C and I were talking, he asked my husband that can they take a walk to the shops. He wants to buy a cigarette. Gandhi, he wanted to get my husband alone on the side. And he said to my husband, whatever God that you guys are praying to, or your ancestors or God, key into that more than ever, because the things that your sisters-in-law are doing to you guys, they are going to places because of you guys, the things that they are doing. The reason I came here today is to warn you guys and also to tell you that I'm breaking up with her. C doesn't know that I'm breaking up with her. I held on so that I could get this opportunity to come and warn you guys. I was so appreciative, that gesture for him to come all the way. And he said, I can't tell you the details, but I'm just telling you that continue to pray. Whatever prayer, continue. Because for me, the things that they are doing to you guys, I thought by now you will be dead. That's how bad things were. But anyway, after that, Colin broke up with C. And I remember he phoned me one day. It's like, they are outside. C and K, they're outside my house. They're banging every door, all the windows. They are calling my name. They don't understand why I broke up with her. And because Colin didn't tell C, he just disappeared because he was so disgusted by their behavior. Anyway, and yeah, one other interesting thing, actually, I almost forgot that part. There was a day when they called me for a meeting, and I was supposed to fetch my daughter from a party. So they called me for a meeting. So I asked my husband, I was like, okay, they are calling me for a meeting at home in Soweto. Can you fetch our daughter from the party? I'll go to the meeting. Good enough. I drove, I left, I went there. It was daylight, like around 1, 2. So my husband was going to fetch our daughter around 3 because they were still young. You know, those parties that start at 10 and finish at around 2. So I went home, and then when I come back, I think I came back around 6:30 in the evening. And as I come in, my husband comes to meet me at the gate, and he's like, "Come inside, come inside." And then he drags me with the hand. We go to our bedroom, the main bedroom. As I walk in, I smell impepo, so much impepo, and then I get shocked because I know my husband, where he comes from, his family, they don't burn impepo, especially at that time, because he had no clue about ancestral things or anything. So I'm smelling impepo in our room and I'm shocked. And I know we don't have impepo in the house. So I'm like, where did you get impepo? Since when do you burn impepo? And he was like, oh, thank goodness, hallelujah, thank goodness. I thought I was going crazy. I thought I was going crazy. Then he tells me that, when I left, I locked the house and I drove to fetch our daughter. When I came back, as I entered our room, only in our room, only in the main bedroom, as I entered the main bedroom, there was smoke filled in the whole room, every corner of the room. And he said he was so shocked and he asked himself if I came home maybe while he was away and I burnt incense. But then he was puzzled, where did I go? Would I come drive all the way from Soweto to burn this thing and then go again? He says he was so puzzled. And he was like, why didn't I tell him if I came home that I'm coming home? So when now he noticed that I came home and I was shocked, he got even more puzzled, but he was relieved at the same time because it's like, okay, then I'm not crazy. What I'm smelling, what I saw is real. That up to today, we don't know how that happened. But anyway, a lot of things happened. A lot of things happened. And my son from my first marriage, when my first husband passed away, my son was very young. He was 3 years old and he was okay going to school, crash already, speaking, all those things. And he actually spoke 3 languages because at crash, it was English. And then our nanny spoke Zulu. So I spoke Zulu with our nanny. And my first husband was Sotho. So my kids spoke 3 languages. So my boy was okay. But after my husband's passing, I noticed things going wrong. Things were not okay. And I started, and at crash, they called me and they also said they noticed a difference. So I was like, okay, maybe he's affected by the father's passing. So I took him to the therapist and he wouldn't speak there. It's like he regressed somehow. He just regressed. Language, speech gone, behavior, things just changed. And there's no doctor that I didn't take my boy to. There is no doctor. From when I was a widow then until I met my second husband, I was going to neurologist. What's the other one? I always struggle to pronounce it. Chiropractor or whatever, the ones that break your bones or fix your bones. We did EEG tests, we did speech therapy, we did occupational therapy, we've done every other test. We've been on Ritalin medication, everything. There's nothing we didn't try. And the worst thing is, every test that they took, there was never a conclusive diagnosis like maybe he's autistic or he's got ADHD or anxiety. They all were puzzled. All the doctors that I took him to, they were all puzzled. They couldn't find what was the problem. So we ended up like living with this thing and changed him. We went to special schools, very, very costly, very expensive, and very not nice, to see your boy from move from being okay, being normal to being a child who's struggling to even speak. And I remember there was a time where they did I can't remember what it's called, but it's like an analysis, and the results came back. I think by then he was 8, and the results came back. They said it's like he's stuck in a mental state of a 3-year-old. So yeah, it was a lot of up and downs when it came to my boy, and also since I resigned from work when I was taking care of my mother, because I was always one of those people who always had a job. If I resigned today, 2 weeks later I'll be in another job. I always had that luck. So now I'm starting to apply for jobs, no opportunity. When you apply and you don't even get a sorry, uh, you don't qualify or we took somebody else. No, it felt like I was non-existent. It felt like I didn't exist, like I was nowhere. So I kept applying, nothing would happen, nothing would happen. And things just got bad. You could relate this to my other videos where I said I had to train. I trained as a Sangoma. This was related to everything that was going on in my life, not getting a job, my husband's business sinking. Things just got so terrible, so bad. And I remember before things went bad, actually, there was a time because my husband likes the business of buying cars from auctions, fixing them and selling them. So we used to buy a lot of cars. So there was this one time where my sister C came. And as she arrived, we had cars in the yard. We had a Quantum, which we had bought, and we had 3 other cars, which we had bought and fixed, and we were going to sell them. When she came, she cried. She cried like cry proper tears. And when I asked her, she said, "It's tears of joy." Oh no, it's just tears of joy. I'm so happy for you. Sister, there's so many cars in your yard. Me being me, I'm one of those people. I never see bad in people. I always see the best in people. And I always say, because my daughter and my husband, they always like they're never happy about how I am, but it's who I am. I can't change. I believe a person must show me who they are. I don't assume who they are, and I always give people a long rope, before I make change my mind about them. So I've always felt that my sister wants the best for me, even when she would say the most horrible things. And I remember there was a rumor. It's actually not a rumor. She said it to 4 different people because if it's said to 4 different people, then it's not a rumor anymore. And she told them that I actually killed my first husband. And when I heard this, I was so hurt. I was so hurt. But again, I don't know how I'm made. I always forgive. I just let it go. And I believe it's good for me because I don't hold things. I don't hold grudges, and that helps me not to have that victim mentality. She actually even told my current husband when we're dating that, hey, you must be careful. She might just kill you because you killed her first husband. That's how she was. But I still forgave her. I was still feeling like she's my sister. I need to take care of her. I need to protect her. But the signs were always there. I don't want this to be too long. We'll do a part 2. Let me stop here for now. Thanks.